video on God chooses Abraham. In the city of Ur there lived a very good man named Abraham. And he was one of the richest men in the world. That he was so rich that he needed hundreds of workers to take care of his sheep, cattle and camels. One day God said to Abraham, I want you and your wife Sarah to move to another country called Canaan. I have a very special plan for you and your family. Abraham and Sarah immediately obeyed God and began their very long journey to their new homeland. All their workers had to also follow them, taking care of all their animals and belongings. They traveled for many years, settling down in different places before they finally reached the land of Canaan. Their new home was now in Canaan. They put up their tents near the tall trees at a place called Hebron. Abraham loved Sarah very much, but Abraham and Sarah were very sad because they had no children and Sarah was now growing older and older. But one night God said to Abraham, look up in the sky and see if you can count the stars up there. I promise you that your family will also be too big to count. It was hard for Abraham to believe because Sarah was growing older and older to give birth to a baby. But Abraham had to believe it to keep God's promise. One day, at the hottest time of the day, Abraham was sitting outside his tent. He looked up and saw three men standing nearby. Abraham was a very generous person and loved to have guests for dinner. Abraham went to them and asked them, would you like something to eat? Sarah cooked a very special dinner for them. And as they sat and had dinner together, they suddenly said something very strange and shocking to Abraham. At the same time next year, you and your wife Sarah will have a son. Now Abraham knew that these people had come from God, and Abraham came to know that what he heard was true. But Sarah could not believe it and laughed loudly and said to herself, how is it possible for me to give birth to a baby at this age? But God heard Sarah laugh and said, why did Sarah laugh? Do you think anything is impossible for God? But God kept his promise and gave them a son exactly a year later. And Abraham named the son Isaac, which means laughter. So friends, from this video, we learn that nothing is impossible for God, and God will never break his promise. So friends, in my next video, I will tell you all about Isaac and his wife Rebecca. Thank you.